Hey, Dr. Brook here with another epic adventure through the wild, wild west of Web3. Today, I am joined by my co-pilot, Chris Payne, who is the Chief Branding Officer of Dogami. For those of you who know me, you know that I'm super cheesing right now because this is my favorite NFT project ever. So it is an absolute honor to have Chris on the show. I am so excited you're here. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and it's cool to see you again after having met in LA.
I know. It feels so good. It feels real amazing. So my listeners know and my audience knows, but I want to know what your intro story is into the Web3 world. How did you personally get into the rabbit hole of the whole blockchain world?
Sure, makes sense. Well, actually, it wasn't that long ago, to be honest. So the transition was rather fast. But I was working on a branding project for the Real Madrid Football Club a few years back, and I met a very nice guy there that was on the board of a VC in San Francisco. And he basically introduced me to the guys from the venture cap, and he said, "Yeah, you could help these guys with a rebranding as well. It'd be interesting. They're putting together a new portfolio of investments." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." So I did the first call with them, and they were talking about their first investments in seed round, and they're talking to me about having invested in Dapper Labs and other things like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out everything that they had done, right? And I was like, okay, it's very hard to do a rebranding or a branding on a subject that you don't understand. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, give me a week and we'll see what we can do together. And I kind of did a deep dive. I watched, I don't know how many videos on YouTube. I made my education on the different blockchains,
Yeah.
basically on all the different Web3 tools. And then I landed on NFTs, and I was like, okay, this is mind blowing for anybody that's a creator or that's been a creator.
Yeah.
There's actually so much that you can do with NFTs in terms of its usage. And I had done a bit of my path in the luxury industry and a bit of my path in the film industry. Actually, I spent the majority of my time in the film industry, and one of the first things that I thought NFTs would be a great use case scenario for was in the luxury industry for everything that's linked to being able to assign proprietary
Pro Proprietary. Yeah.
rights on
Yeah.
what you own and what you don't own, because one of the biggest pain points in the luxury industry is the gray market. I'm
Mhm.
like, this is actually amazing to be able to have this digital waiver that tells you who's the owner of what, and even for people that are, for example, watch collectors, to be
Yeah.
able to know who exactly has owned that timepiece and knowing exactly what the history of that timepiece was. So first of all, I was like, wow, this is going to change the luxury industry. And then I was like, oh, but for films, if you would be able to stream films and distribute them through the blockchain, you would
Yeah.
know exactly where your film is being distributed, because in the film industry there's this huge kind of lack of visibility on where your content is actually being distributed. And I'm like, for once, the creators or the producers or any could have full transparency on that. So it started like steaming in my head, and I was like, oh, there's so many things that we can do. This technology is amazing. And so I did the rebranding for them, and I think I spent the next 3-4 months kind of sharing as much as I could about Web3.
Yeah.
I wanted everybody to know, and that kind of sparked the attention of a really close friend of mine, which told me, "Listen, you have to meet these three guys. They're about to launch an NFT project." And I met Adrian, Bilal, and Max through that. So yeah, so that was kind of the introduction. It was done very quickly, but I became very passionate about it right away. I don't have a lot of in-depth knowledge in terms of how it works technically,
Yeah.
But I have the knowledge of the advantages that it can give, and that's the side that really got me excited to want to explore and to be able to create new things in that universe was super exciting.
That's amazing. And you mentioned the three guys that you met that you got introduced to that were building out this NFT project. That NFT project is the project that we're going to be talking about today, which is Dogami. And you are now one of the 6 Doga Fathers. That's what you guys go by, right? There's 6 of you total, the Doga Fathers. How did the creation, you came onto the project Dogami really early on. Like, tell us a little bit about the background story of Dogami and how that all got started.
Well, I actually started with 2 of my business partners, and the idea came from, well, Adrian, which is one of our business partners, and he's the chief operations officer at Dogami. He had spent about 12 years in the pet industry, and he built a platform which is called Whammies, which is kind of the Google for cats and dogs, actually all pets. And it was one of the large, it is still actually, so I say it was because he left, but it's the largest pet company, pet media website in the world, with 15 million unique visits a month. It's got the biggest community. And he saw as well the opportunity to be able to use new tools to build new communities around the pet industry, and that was kind of his ideas. How do I transition from Web 2 to Web 3? Because he had just sold his company to Nestle, so it was a very successful,
exit,
very successful mission that he had accomplished. And he was an angel investor in a few companies, and that got him to meet Bilal. And Bilal was kind of talking to him about Web3 and giving him an introduction to Web3. And one day, Adrian was having lunch or dinner, and he was thinking about just about names of what a next company could be without even having a concept. And he's thinking, dog, origami, because he likes Japan a lot. And he's like, maybe we can do something with dog and origami, the art of folding paper, having plenty of different end results and solutions. And he told himself, okay, well, Dogami is a great name. Now I love it. So it was kind of born out of that. And then he kind of had his first discussions with Bilal, and Bilal was like, if we go into this, I've got a lot of knowledge. Bilal had made a reputation for himself for being the first person in Europe to do a real estate transaction using the Tezos blockchain, so tokenization of physical assets to do transactions. So he had built quite a reputation for himself, and he was like, okay, let's do this together. I can guide you through the motions. I can give you the know-how in this business for you to be able to develop your project. And they're like, okay, we need somebody that can hold the reins of this project. And Bilal was at university with Max, which is the third partner, Maximilian Stoikle. And he contacted Max, and he's like, so Max, do you like your job? And Max like, well, listen, it's okay. He's like, what if I told you that you could be the CEO of of a Web3 NFT gaming company? And Max is like, well, that does sound better than doing business advisory at Boston Consultancy Group. So give me a few minutes. And I think 24 hours later, he wrote back to Bilal, and he's like, listen, you know what? If you don't take risks in your life, you don't get to anything. And he's like, I'm in.
I love it.
And at this point, Adrian was looking for someone to kind of jump on the wagon to build the brand, Dogami, its positioning and its image. And he actually got in contact with a good friend of mine, Kelly, who lives here in Geneva, in Switzerland. And she was like, listen, I have no knowledge on Web3. I think the project is awesome, but maybe I can introduce you to someone that just can't stop talking about Web3. And so she calls me, and she's like, I don't know, I have a friend, he's super smart, he's called Adrian, he sold his company to Nestle. He's doing NFTs for dogs. And I'm like, okay, I don't get it. Like, what is he doing with NFTs and dogs? And she's like, just do a call with them. You'll see they're amazing. I'm like, I don't know. I have this concept of what I want to do with NFTs. I want to speak to my contacts in the luxury industry. And, I had this image of pet food in my mind. And I just felt like, it's not sexy. You know what I mean? And she's like, well, listen, you have to do the call because I already told them you were doing it. And I'm like, oh God, okay. and so I jump on the call with Adrian, Bilal, and Max, and I think it took the most of 30 seconds to be like, okay, number one, you guys are awesome. Yeah. And I could see a professional relationship between us, because when you go into a partnership, you're basically getting married to other people. You're speaking to each other at midnight, 2 a.m., Sunday morning. Right. You haven't brushed your teeth yet, and you're already on your fifth call. But yeah, they kind of gave me a vision of what they wanted to do, and I think that was the instrumental moment for us, was the first conversations, because what I was scared of, and what the others were scared of, actually, I'm saying but we were all scared of that, some of us might be here for the wrong reasons, because obviously every time you have hype around the topic, you're scared that you're partnering with people that might be tactical, short term, like trying to bounce on an opportunity instead of looking at a long-term strategy and vision. And so we said, okay, if we do this, how do we ensure that Dogami exists 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What are the foundations that we're going to be putting into place so that we actually build a scalable experience and do something that would potentially at some point become, allow for mass market adoption, but also be a platform that could help people transition from Web 2 to Web 3. Yes. And so I think we spent 2 months just talking about what was the right direction, what was the wrong direction, what it was that we needed. And we wanted everybody to be able to have some kind of an emotional connection with Dogami, because I think what makes a likable brand is relatability, but it's also depth of the universe that you're building, the environment, the characters. If everything feels cold and has no purpose, then it's very difficult for you to have that emotional attachment. And we're like, let's take people on a journey. Let's give ourselves the chance of putting something in place where we leave maybe a mark on the history books as a product that's born in Web3, and that tried, humbly saying, is future facing in a way. But we wanted something that would allow for us to develop future products in the future that are web-based, others that are physical, but your entry point is always going to be your NFT, and that's our authenticity. But we're like, why should we just make it, an NFT project with no justification? So one of the first things we kind of all aligned on was, okay, what's the lore? What's the story behind these dogs? Are they why they called Dogami? Are they special? Is there something that we don't know about them yet? Is there something that we're going to be able to share through time with our audience? And how are the ways that we're going to tell that story? So we spent, we're still doing it now. So we worked with Brian J. L. Glass from Marvel Comics. Then we onboarded Michael Rea from DreamWorks, with who works on some DreamWorks shorts, and we were like, okay, we want to build something that allows for a long timeline of stories that we can tell, and allow for events to happen. So we're like, when is first contact of Dogamis on Earth? And what has happened between that moment to now, and why are we under the impression that these are just dogs? Can we rewrite the history of dogs on Earth? And if we do, how do we do it? And so we kind of all were aligned on that, and we're like, let's work on the story so that the story feeds the game, so that the game doesn't feel shallow. Listen, I mean, everybody was aligned. Everybody kind of decided that we were in it for the long run. Everybody took the risk and left everything that they were doing behind to focus on on this, and we're only at the beginning of our story, you know, but it's super
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, I've been part of this journey. Like I was sharing with you when I met you in LA, like December of last year. So since before the first NFT drop, which was released on February 22nd of 22, and now 22 over the course of the entire calendar year has been deemed like Doga Day, which is really awesome. And you guys have done an amazing job at really cultivating a strong community and cultivating people who are really passionate about the project, myself included, and bringing all-star players into it. So the feel when you're part of the Doga family and you're in there is there's definitely long-term vision here. This is not a pump and dump type of project. Build a game up, you guys make your millions, run off and do your next thing. We really want to see this project become, like you said, products, you know, other things in the web world and so on. So I think it's super commendable. I'm like all in. So
Thank you.
yeah.
I have to give credit to Adrian on the community building. I mean, I touch wood, but I hope this guy is not going to have a heart attack, because this guy is working on human hours,
Oh my
on
goodness.
trying to make sure that
Yeah.
the community is happy, and every decision we have like 5 pivots every time. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay, but we have to make sure, because you know, if we do this, we might anger the community. So let's try and find the best way to communicate news without giving too much spoilers, because
Yeah.
otherwise we're setting deadlines, and if we are late on the deadlines for any reason, so no,
Right.
wait, let's go back to the drawing board. And it working. He's pacing left and right, and he's like,
Oh my
okay,
God.
and he's like, I know, dog lovers, you trust me. I know, I'm trying. I've been with dogs for 13 years.
Yeah.
So he's probably one of the most passionate people that you can meet, and
Oh my
he
God.
does have the best interest of everybody at heart. And I think nobody realizes, and we're still in the process of realization of
Yeah.
actually how much work it is, and how many people are working in the
Right.
background. I mean, today we're more than 40 people
Right.
at Dogami,
Yep.
and it's just to build something from the ground up
Yeah.
it is a lot of work. And we, you know, we try to give enough so that everyone sees the direction we're going into without giving too much spoilers, which is very
Yeah.
difficult to do, because obviously when you're excited about something, the first thing you want to do is share some spoilers, right?
Tell
You know
everybody
what I mean?
about
Like,
it.
the
Yeah.
guy's like, we're doing something so amazing right now, you know, I want to share it. And like, there's always
Yeah.
this discussion at the office of, you think we can share this sneak peek? And we're like, yeah, but you know, some things inside, some
Yeah.
elements might still change, you know, so if you do this, there's no going back, you know. So
Right.
everything we need to measure to make sure that, you know, we're taking the right decisions. But it's super exciting. I mean,
It
there's a lot of stuff coming that you know, I'm really excited that we'll be able to share shortly. I can tell you, in December there's a sneak peek that's going to come on. There's a sneak peek coming in December of something very cool that we're preparing for early next year. And yeah, no, I'm finally we're going to be able to reveal a bit of story, which I've been dying to do for
Oh
a
my
good year and a
God.
half. So
Oh my
that's going
God.
to be cool.
Well, I mean, your excitement over the project just like fuels my excitement about the project. I know that it is super crazy trying to build something, like you said, from the ground up, but the passion and, you know, the excitement like that you guys have is just what kind of keeps things going, allows you to work those long hours. Adrian, you know, pacing around back and forth, you're like hoping he doesn't have a heart attack, but he's so excited about everything going on that it just gives him, like, he probably doesn't have to eat very much, you know, because he's just sustained all along through the excitement. And that's super exciting. So
And Adrian talks a lot. So when we have business lunches, so we're in these shared office space in Paris, but we have
yeah,
our block for us. And so
yeah,
obviously next to all these places are always these small restaurants, and
Yeah.
every time we go for lunch it's his moment where at lunch he knows nobody's on his laptop, so he's like going and then we arrive, it's end of lunch, he hasn't touched his plate, you know, and
Right.
he's just like,
That's what I'm
okay,
saying.
c'est pas grave, I don't need to eat, I'll eat when I'm dead, and he
That,
leaves all.
that's what I'm saying, because it is just like fueling him. So, okay, switching gears before we run
Yeah.
out of time. I want you just maybe even just a couple minutes. So we talked about like the creation of Dogami. Tell people, listeners that may not know anything about Dogami, like what is it? Like we know it's a play and earn game. Like there's a game that people have these NFT dogs with, but just from your point of view, what is it?
Well, from my point of view, I have to be careful how I say this. No, from my point of view, what we're trying to do with Dogami is to create potentially the next Pokemon that's born on the blockchain. I think that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of our ambition. We want to deliver a deep experience, obviously constrained by what you can do on mobile, but where we can stretch that experience to physical products. But in effectively, what happens is, as a user, you would adopt your own unique Dogami, and you will raise your Dogami, unlocking along the way all of his, let's say, hidden and secret attributes, and discovering how special your Dogami is. And then you will be able to take place in competitions with your Dogami to be able to go up the leaderboards. There's this concept of nurturing and training and teamwork between yourself and your Dogami, which I think is fun and original. We're really trying to, when it comes to mechanics itself, we're really trying to find what are the games that offer casual to mid-core gameplay, where you allow for real progression to happen, but at the same time it's easy to pick up and play. And we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. I think it would be way too risky to do something that's never been done before in terms of actual game loops and mechanics. We want to use that something that's a battle proven kind of concept, so that we make sure that we're delivering an experience, number one, that we can execute on, but number two, we know already has large audiences around the world, and we apply our IP to it so that people can enjoy their Dogami to the fullest. I think that's really what we want to do with Dogami. And I kind of like, and I use Pokemon as an example because I think that, number one, I grew up on Pokemon because I was one of the first players on Game Boy with I had Pokemon Red, my sister had Pokemon Blue. And I just remember being able to step into such a unique environment and rich environment, full of story, where you were attracted to it and you wanted more of it. And what's great is with mobile apps now, you can update constantly your app. So we can do the same, and we can continue to scale the experience with new things onto the app. And so that really is what we want to be able to accomplish.
That's incredible. So why did you guys choose Tezos blockchain? What about Tezos drew Dogami to them?
So there are a few sexy reasons, and there's a few unsexy reasons, in full transparency. So one of the unsexy reasons is that we wanted to use a blockchain on which we knew 100% we could start working on right away without having to do too much learning on the technical side. Bilal had been working for multiple years with his team on the Tezos blockchain, and it was a blockchain that they knew that they could jump on right away, and do what was necessary for us to start building the initial blocks of what Dogami would become on the technical side. But we were in discussions with a few other blockchains. And what really kind of tipped it over is is the sustainability aspect. So some of us at Dogami are parents, and we want to make sure that the world of tomorrow for our children is a sustainable and clean one. And I think
Yes.
it would have been even outside of our core values to go with a blockchain that would have been maybe easier, in a moment where there was some super high prices on Ethereum and things like that.
Yeah.
And, it could have been a choice to go there, but, what kind of message are we really sending out?
Yeah.
So we thought, listen, let's go with Tezos. It's scalable blockchain.
Yeah.
And it's a blockchain that we can work on, and let's follow our heart and our values instead of trying to follow the green,
I love
and
it.
so but it was a tough choice. It was a tough
Yeah.
choice because a lot of investors that we were talking to in the beginning, they're like, why didn't you why don't you choose Polygon? Why don't you?
Yeah.
And now I think that a lot of them are kind of convinced, and I have to say that the Tezos Foundation has been extremely supportive as well. So, I mean, if you want things to function, then you need to have those strong partnerships with the right people that respect you and that treat you equally nice as you would treat them. And I think that's the kind of relationship we have with Tezos. So,
Yeah.
very happy to be there.
I love it. I think Tezos is a great blockchain, and they're one that's going to be sticking around for the future, and they're going to stay. They're not, you didn't build on a wonky or a janky chain that's, going to be here today and gone tomorrow. They definitely do have, like you said, a sustainable future. And as a parent myself, it's very important to have that for our children. My daughter has her own Dogami. I have my own Dogami. And I wanted to share this story with you. I debated sharing it publicly or if I would share it on the back end, but I think it's so cool so I'm living right now an epic love story. I found my soulmate, I found my person, and it all was centered around helping this guy buy his own Dogami. And so It's like, yes. So Dogami will forever be part of my future. It is currently in my present moment. And we have together jointly, we have an Australian Shepherd. We named her Penny May. And yes, our first Dogami purchase together. So
oh my God, that's a crazy story. I love it.
It's so amazing. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just,
that's awesome.
Yes.
That's
So
awesome.
of course,
this is
my heart is like all in the Dogami project, and just helping people picking up their pups along the way as we go. So
that's amazing. But I mean, that's the super cool side of being part of a community is being able to hear those stories. I mean, I've been lucky enough to meet a few community members as I traveled along. Max was in Singapore and he had dinner with a few community members as well, and he came back with such a smile on his face, and he's like, "Wow, it's so amazing to meet all some of our community members and to actually get to see their faces." And he's like, "Yeah, that was username ta ta ta." I'm like, "No way, that's crazy! I love what she's doing on Twitter." You know what I mean? So it's really cool to have this kind of family feeling,
It absolutely is. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing the whole story, like the background stuff that most people don't really get to hear about. I think it's really cool that you got to share that today, like the future of Dogami, where it's going, everything. And as we get ready to pull this train into the station, is there anything else? I want people to be able to connect with the Dogami project. I want them to be able to connect with you. I will put all that in the show notes, but is there anything else that you want to say before we close this thing down?
No, so I would say one thing is that we want to we're more than just a team at core in our offices, and we do listen to everything. And I think we're extremely lucky that Alex, Andy, and John are continuously getting all the feedback, and we have Excel forms of feedback. And I just want to say, keep it going as much as you can, because everything is incredibly useful. And obviously, we are trying to build something that serves you before anybody else. So, your feedback is super important. I know, and it can be hard feedback to read. Is even sometimes a bit better. So yes, please do send it. Continue sending your feedback, and don't hesitate. Oh, sorry, I have kids that just arrived.
No worries.
But yes, please
Yeah.
continue sending feedback, and we are listening. We're reading all the feedback, and go a little bit further if you can, and tell us exactly what it is that you want to see as well.
Yeah.
Not only what you think doesn't work or what you think works, but what might not be there and what you might not see on face value, but you would love to be able to do with your Dogami. And yeah, I mean, it's super important to us, and if we don't know, we can't make the changes. So
That's true. That's true. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. For those of you listening, as we pull this ride into the station, be sure to exit on your right, and we will see you on the next one. You made it. Congratulations. That wasn't so bad, was it? I hope you laughed and learned a little bit more about this Web3 universe and how simple and fun it can really be. Would you be so kind as to leave us a review and share it with your friends and family? It would mean so much to get this out to more people as we embark on the greatest transfer of wealth that has ever happened in human history. Can't wait to see you on the next one.